What is up, YouTube? Nuisance Car here. Today, as you can see in the video title, I'm going to be installing a hydraulic handbrake. I actually got this hydro off of eBay. It was 50 bucks. Before anyone comments about how terrible eBay quality is, I'm not very impressed with the quality of this, but we're going to install it anyway, and we're going to see how it does, and yeah, we'll go from there. Now, really my only concern about this piece is the master cylinder. I'm not sure how the quality is going to be on this, but just in case, I have a spare wood master cylinder, so if that blows, I can always replace it. But I want to see how long this thing lasts for 50 bucks. I mean, I can't complain. This thing might be terrible quality, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. Now, there is one change that I want to make before I go ahead and install this, and that is, although I do like the vertical setup, I'm actually going to be changing this to a horizontal setup, as you will see right now. And there you have it. It is now in a horizontal setup. If you're wondering why I'm missing a bolt there, it's because the actual hole that's threaded is already stripped. Hashtag eBay quality. So for this install, you're going to need some 3/16 inch hard lines. You're going to need 2 of these T-fittings. They are both female 3/8 by 24 thread pitch. You're going to need some inverted nuts. These are, what is it? It's a 3/16 inch tube size, and they are 3/8 inch by 24 thread pitch. You're going to need 8 of those. They come in packs of 5, so cool stuff. You're going to need a flaring kit. You're going to need a couple of adapters, actually. You're going to need this adapter. I already have it installed on here, but this one is a 3/8 inch 24 bubble to a 3/8 inch 24 inverted. So you're going to need that. You can find that at AutoZone. Actually, most of these you can find at AutoZone, except for this one. This one is a 7/16 inch by 20 to a 3/8 inch by 24 inverted seat. So this one is actually inverted to inverted. So this one is actually a little bit more rare. You're probably not going to find it at AutoZone or O'Reilly's or any of those other auto parts stores. So this one actually had to buy online at eBay, and I will link that down below. I went ahead and I fabricated some brackets. This one is actually going to mount to one of the OEM locations for the factory e-brake. And this one is very crude. This one is actually going to mount to the transmission tunnel, more towards the bottom, mainly for ease of accessibility. If I'm honest, I'm just too lazy, and I didn't want to have to take off the heat shield and exhaust and all that in order to get to the bolt. So I did it this way, and I will show you guys how this is going to mount up really quick. E-brake is mocked up. It's mounted right there. That is a stock e-brake bolt. I just go ahead and utilize that. These are very crude brackets, but whatever. And I have a bracket right there, which is going to mount right there. I just got to go ahead and drill a hole for that and put a bolt through there. Pretty natural location. It's not bad. It's right next to the shifter. I don't think it gets in the way of the steering wheel. Nope. Cool. So I forgot to mention, this is going to be an inline setup and not a dual caliper setup. If it was a dual caliper setup, there would be a reservoir on the master cylinder, but this is going to be inline, so I'm going to be using the factory brake lines, or more so, I'm going to be tapping into the factory brake lines. So from the ABS pump, it's going to come back. It's going to tee into one brake line, going to go into the e-brake's master cylinder and back out, tee off into 2 lines, and then back into the rear brake calipers. Alright, so I have my bracket right there. It's all bolted up. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to route the lines. I'm going to come from here. They're going to loop around, and they're going to go through right about there. So I'm going to draw a hole right there, and it's going to route through there. Now the reason I'm drilling there is because that's kind of not the freest area, but it's close enough to where I can route the lines under the car as quick as possible, but it's an area that's a little bit more free to work around with. There's a lot of stuff in the way, like the heat shield, the exhaust mounting brackets, and things of that nature. So that's going to allow me to route the brake lines under the car without going too far out of the way. So we will see how this goes. So it's getting late, but I just want to knock this out really quick. I have some brake line right here, have it set up in a vise. I'm just gonna clean up this end really quick with a angle grinder and deburr the inside with some scissors or a razor blade, whatever works. And then we should be able to flare it. Make sure before you flare it, you actually put a fitting on there first. That is a common mistake. I've seen it happen multiple times. So make sure you put the fitting on before you actually flare the line. It is nice and deburred, so this should be good for flaring. Got my flaring block. So you want to make sure that when you put it on there, when you tighten it down, it's level with the corresponding fitting. To 5mm fitting, it should be lined up with the first level. So that's close enough. Pick the cars. Oh, hell no. What's that, dude? Usher dance. Hey, face strokes coming. Usher dance. How about that? Oh, shit. How about that?
Are you filming? You got trash in the background? Maybe we want to.
Well, you can't focus on it, but
hey,
it looks good.
If you lose a bet, what'd you get? Not oil, it was for the clutch.
Boom.
Stainless line. Go on with your bad self. Blew you out of the water, son.
No, I'm just saying it's some close counts right now.
Another flare done. So I made the mistake of thinking this was long enough to fit in my master cylinder. It is not long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a copper washer, since copper is pretty soft. It's supposed to serve as a gasket, so this should stop any leaking. In theory, we're gonna see if that actually does work. All right, guys. So it is the next day. Let's go ahead and get right to it. I do have the e-brake mocked up. Not lighting, but yeah, it is mocked up. I have the adapters on. We got to route all the hard lines. We have to tap into the OEM brake lines and fit the T's and adapters, do all the flaring and all that. So let's get right to it. Only thing I want to mention is I did have to go to AutoZone and I had to buy one of these. This is a tubing cutter. It's like $9. So because I'm doing an inline setup and I do have to tap into the OEM brake lines, you don't want to be using an angle grinder for that because brake fluid is flammable. So that's why I bought this. This comes in handy. Alright, so I have the hard lines mounted to the master cylinder. They're running to the side of the training tunnel and it's going to go under the car. So that's set. So before I do any cutting to the OEM brake line, I'm actually going to flare this one first. I think this is the first one I'm going to work on, then I'll do this one after, because this one is shorter, so I have a lot less leeway. Alright, so I'm probably going to cut, probably do about right there. So I got the line teed off coming from the ABS pump. I'll be honest, it was a really big mess. I didn't think it was going to be that big, but it was a big mess. I was assuming that it was going to pull a vacuum at the reservoir. It didn't, and it kept flowing. So I had to do all my flaring and bending and things of that nature while brake fluid was coming out. Flares weren't as good as I would like, but we'll see what happens. Now I just gotta do the side going from the master cylinder to the rear calipers, and we should be good. Alright, so I got the T-fitting on, going from the master cylinder to the rear calipers. Both the T's are in. It is all plumbed up. These are all tightened. And the lines on the master cylinder are tightened. So, I think it's time to start bleeding the brakes. Alright guys, so after a couple of issues with some leaking and some bad flares that I did on my end, I finally got the e-brake mocked up. It feels good. It is leaking a little bit, but I mean there's not much I can do outside of redoing the flares. It's not too bad. It's like a little bit of a dribble. Also, this bracket isn't too strong, the front one actually, so I would definitely recommend some sort of bracing in addition to that. So we're gonna leave it as is for now, and we're gonna go try this thing out. Still have brakes, so that's good. Let's see what happens. That sounds good to me. All right, so that worked. How about low speed? Does it work for low speed? There we have it. It fucking works. It works. This thing works. I'm super excited about that. No leaking there. I'm gonna be safe today. I'm not gonna do any drifting. But goddamn, 50 bucks off eBay. There's cheaper ones too. Well, I don't know if I want to go. I can't vouch for those, but I mean, dude, come on. Like this is awesome. It locks up. Super easy too. For a drift car, this is probably one of my most anticipated mods. You know, not the angle kit or any of that. This is probably one of the mods that I've wanted like the most, is a hydraulic handbrake. And I don't know why. It's just it's awesome. I can't explain it. I can't explain how it feels good to have one. All right, guys. So that is it for this video. Super stoked to have this on. There's not much else I want to do before my next track day, so I think that's gonna be the next video. We're gonna head to the track next. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's go to the track and let's go do some drifting. With that being said, that is it for this video, and I will see you guys at the track. Peace.